that, to me, that hasn't solved anything.
Well, let me tell you what the problem with healthcare is. 85% of the problem is cost, 15% is coverage. What we did in this bill was we passed a massive tax hike to take care of the 15% of coverage. Now, the truth of it is we do have some coverage issues, and we do have some problems. We shouldn't have people out on the street that have lost their job that can't get health insurance. So we need to make sure we take care of the safety net.
Yeah, but the government's still going to be in my health care business. I don't want them making decisions for me.
No, they're not. Not if you deregulate, because all you're doing is
You said you were going to cut the funding and take the bad parts of the bill out. That still leaves the government in my health care. I don't want government-run health care.
Well, maybe the answer to you better is there's good pieces in it, like the cap on expenditures for somebody who's deathly sick. There's good pieces in it on the...
There might be good pieces,
those are
but
pieces
I don't want the government involved, period.
Right. Well, you heard what I said there. You can't repeal the bill. You've got to defund it, pull it apart, and get it back to where we need it to be. I also told you, we're going around in circles, because I've also told you I believe in less government, less taxes. That bill is a massive tax cut, that tax hike, with massive government intervention.
I know.
But what we have to do is take that bill, defund it, rip it apart, leave the good pieces in, and then make our health care work. If I had to make health care work today, here's what I would do. Number one, I've been in healthcare for 30 years. All right? What's the number one problem in healthcare? We practice defensive medicine. No matter what anybody says, I practice defensive medicine. We need to eliminate the practice of defensive medicine. That's what drives costs up.
You're okay with government health care?
Yes, it's an inalienable right, huh?
What's that?
You're saying health care is an inalienable right?
No, I didn't say that. You guys, I said we can't repeal the you keep trying to get me in a box here. We can't repeal the healthcare system. So we have to rip out the pieces that aren't supposed to be there. And there are going to be some pieces that are left, which I believe are to take care of the safety net. If it was up to me, the only thing that would be left was the safety net provisions. Not the government takeover of healthcare. Have I answered that? Not the government takeover of healthcare. I don't know how much more.
It still sounds like you're for the healthcare.
I'm not for the healthcare plan. Absolutely.
He's just saying we got it.
We got it.
You can't get rid of it. It's done.
He said you can't get rid of it.
You cannot get rid of it. There's just no way to get rid of it right now. That doesn't mean I'm for
The House
it.
generates the funding for anything.
What's that?
The House generates the funding. If the House cuts out the funding, it's gone.
We defund all the things that can be defunded. I'm going to repeat it again. We defund everything that can be defunded. The bill's still there. You cannot eliminate the bill. I'm sorry. I'm not saying this because I don't want it to be.
Take the funding away, and there's no point in the bill. The bill's.
Well, there's lots of stuff.
Oh, there's lots of stuff. Taxes are in there. You're not going to eliminate the taxes. The taxes are in. You're not going to eliminate that stuff.
I can take the wheels off the car, but you still have a car.
Right. I mean, that's exactly right. You can't stop the taxes until you get a president and a House and a Senate all together doing it. So you just can't do it. So now we have at least 2 more years that we have to live with it. We have to defund it. But I'm telling you, I'm not for health care, but you cannot eliminate. The taxes already went into place. The issue where your children now are covered till age 26, not going to change that. You can't change that. But what you can do is defund the provisions to stop some of it from going forward. But some of those provisions are there. You're just not going to do it. Would I love to repeal it? You heard me, somebody said, are you for repeal? Absolutely I'm for repeal. Can it be repealed? No.
Do you want to give it, would you favor giving it back to the private sector? Or do you want the government to run the best parts of the bill? Or the? I'm trying to figure out where you're at.
I would want.
I'm not catching it. So
I'll say it again.
I don't know. Do you support government health care?
No.
None.
No. But you asked me about the current bill, and I said I can't eliminate the current bill. I'm sorry, you just can't eliminate it. So we're stuck with it. So we got to defund the things we can eliminate. I told you, and when somebody asked me, would you repeal it today? I'd vote to repeal it right now. Can't do it. Just can't do it. It's impossible. I'm not telling you my opinion. I'm telling you the legal position. It cannot be repealed. What's that?
You could eliminate it. If you had a veto.
If you had a veto, absolutely. You have to have 70%. Absolutely. If you can do that. If you think you're going to get that this year, I don't think so. If you're going to get it in 2 years, I'm not sure about that either. But if we had so now you look at 2 years when the president comes in, So you'd have a veto-proof president. I know you've had your hand up there.
I'm going to ask a question very similar to the gentleman before me, but maybe framed differently. I've been a Republican, but I'm also a Christian, and I think it's pretty well understood that Christians, even in the Republican Party, are kind of considered the true right. And so candidates come out and they present themselves as conservative Christians, and then they go to Washington, and we're not naive. We know that there's going to be some sort of deal making done. But what seems to be good people, when they had the opportunity, didn't do the things that they said they would do, didn't stand up to the principles they said they would. And we end up with universities getting $150,000 grants to study pornography, or a whole lot of nonsense. The whole National Endowment of the Arts could just be scrubbed. When they had the opportunity, they didn't do it. And I think what we're all kind of looking for is, what are the non-negotiable principles that are here? What's non-negotiable to you that we know you're gonna have the spine for, no matter what's presented to you in the back room?
Well, one thing you need to find out about me, and again, you can do that without asking today. Just go back to my history. There are a lot of things non-negotiable because I told you where I came from. I'm a very firm believer in pro-life. All right, you'd never get me to change on that. That's why I'm endorsed by the higher right to life. All right, I believe in fiscal conservatism. I believe in marriage is between a man and a woman only. I believe in all those things. I'm going to Washington as a Christian conservative. And what you need to do, the best place to find out what I stand for, is go back to some of the things I've done. Because I told you, 27 years of experience. Go talk to City of Wadsworth people. See what I did there. When it came gun rights, when it came to, I'm not only am I a life member of the NRA, I'm a gun owner. I'm not sure all the candidates can say that. I'm a gun owner, and I think somebody said to me, well, I don't know if he ever shot a gun. I went to a gun range with a guy, and I showed him I could shoot a gun. A bunch of guys from actually Wayne County. Had a lot of fun. But those are all the things I'm going to stand for. But go to my history and see what I stood for. When there was a gun store coming into Wadsworth, and I had 1,400 people ready to lasso me up, I stood behind the rights of the Second Amendment. All right? When it comes to pro-life, you got to remember that pro-life is not just conception, it's natural death. Look at my 25-year history of taking care of the natural progression of life in the elderly, and you'll find out that I've done everything I can to support that and defend that. So what you really need to do is make sure you send somebody down there that you can justify, not just somebody that talks. Hey, you know what? I can get you 10 people up here that'll talk. They'll say they're Christian, they'll say they're conservative, but what have they done? Just follow that path. I think what you'll find with me is my history speaks for itself. And again, I always tell you this, when you don't need the job, I know a lot of people, there's some people love that and some people don't love it. But when you don't need the job, it's a little easier to stand behind your convictions. When you do need the job, it's a little tougher. And I think you just need to look at that, because one of the things I believe in, I will never elect another person that needs the job. That's a problem. I know who else? I know you.
How can the government force me to pay for somebody else's health care? That's redistribution of my wealth to the lazy.
I agree with you.
What can we do?
Well, I told you that.
They're going to put me in jail if I don't buy health care. That's unconstitutional.
I agree with you. And that's why I told you what we need to do is defund the portions we can, and once we get a veto-proof House, do what we can to remove the
Do
bill.
you think the Supreme Court will hear the unconstitutional part?
Now, I'm not a lawyer, and that's another positive thing. I'm not a lawyer.
But I don't have to buy a Chevy from you.
I agree with you.
But if the government says I got to drive
Although you
it,
should.
if the government owns it, I ain't buying it.
I know.
Because it adds to the cost, my friend.
I agree. Well, I can tell you a whole story about, and we could speak here for hours on government intervention in the car business and how it's going to cost all of you a tremendous
I
amount
wouldn't
of
buy
money.
a Chevy or a Chrysler. Once the government puts their fingers in something, it's screwed up.
We run out of time.
Yep, we're running out of time. Can you stay?
I'll stay, yeah, I can stay.
We're just going to adjourn outside so that they can have their meeting back there.
Okay.
And I want to thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I want to thank all of you.